Hello, Michelle. How are you?
Hi, Aubrey. I'm doing well. Aubrey, have you ever experienced any completely unhinged behavior?
Yes, this week I had an experience at volleyball where someone definitely demonstrated unhinged behavior. And to make a long story short, someone went for the ball when I went for the ball and then kept running at me. So I
Uh-oh.
stopped because I don't want anyone to run into me. I collided with someone recently, same situation where I called the ball and they still ran at it and we collided and I was injured. So I'm a little more wary. I'm a little hesitant. And someone still ran at the ball and then I let it drop. And beyond that, there was a lot of unhinged behavior of them think it was my fault. And I'm like, I don't know if I can play anymore. And they're like,
Oh
fine,
no.
then leave. I'm like, wow, this person is unhinged.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. People can get like that also like
Yeah.
with kids sports, right? Like the
Oh,
parents can become a
absolutely.
little bit unhinged.
I have a story about
Is
that too, but maybe another time. I may have shared it.
yeah.
It was about my daughter playing soccer. That happens a ton. Like people get really
Yeah.
passionate if they're defending their kids or they really want them to win if they're overly competitive. People
Yeah.
can get unhinged.
Yeah. So, I mean, unhinged, it could be someone posting online nonstop about chaotic drama or someone going on a rant in a group chat or maybe a boss messaging at all hours of the night. You might hear someone describe that as unhinged. So, Aubrey, today's question comes from YouTube from Saddam Mohammed, U1G. And this listener is going to ask about the word unhinged. So, could you read the question for us?
Absolutely. Saddam says, I noticed that this word wildly collocates with other words like to run wild. Oh, the word wildly
Yeah, we're
collocates
talking
with
about
other
another
words.
episode.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep. Words like to run wild, which means to behave without control. Like kids were running wild in the yard. To drive someone wild, which means to excite someone in a more romantic context. Her good looking outfit tonight drove me wild. To go wild, which means to become enthusiastic. I went wild and my team scored an early goal. Can you reflect on the word unhinged? I hear it a lot in many contexts. Thanks, guys, for this helpful English trending word. I love this question that Saddam heard this other episode with this vocabulary about something being wild. And he's comparing, he's like, how does that relate to unhinged? And they are related but different. So I'm excited to dive into this today.
Yes, exactly. So, yeah, Saddam, thank you for listening and for the great question. So, yeah, unhinged is kind of a popular word right now. Like it's kind of a little bit trendy, I think. It's great for connection. It's very expressive. And when you understand it in conversation, it's instantly relatable. So today we're going to explain exactly what it means, how to use it appropriately. And guys, make sure you hit the follow button wherever you're listening to the All Ears English podcast so you never miss anything from us.
Yes,
All
and you
right.
probably have noticed that you're hearing Michelle and I a little more often, which is so fun
Yes.
for us. We are loving it. Lindsay is still on the podcast. You'll still hear
Yes, of
her
course.
voice, and she'll be back more even, soon. But yeah, we're having a fun time recording while she's taking a little bit of time off.
Exactly. Yes. So yeah, we're gonna talk about unhinged today. So literally speaking, I mean, if you think of like a door, it's on the hinges, right? That's what the piece of metal that makes it swing open and closed. They connect it to the wall. So if a door is off its hinges, it's not connected to the wall anymore. But
We have these cabinets
yeah.
that are constantly becoming unhinged. The hinges are not very high quality, I think. And if you
I think we
open it
have the same
often, it
thing.
just like is unhinged and you have to fix the little hinge.
And ours is like becomes like crooked. Then
Yeah,
it's
same.
like
And like the
so
wood could almost break. They're probably the same ones.
it could be. Yeah, it's very
Yeah, and
frustrating.
it's sort of hard to pop the hinge back in so that it's
Yeah.
not like about to break off.
Yeah, exactly. So that's more literally, but we don't really use it. We
Not
don't really
often.
use
Even then, I
unhinged
would be like, the
often.
cabinet's broken.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be like, it's unhinged. We don't really say that.
Right, exactly. So normally when you hear unhinged, you're thinking about this, more popular meaning, this less literal meaning. So what is unhinged?
Yeah, so mentally or emotionally unstable, chaotic, unpredictable, over the top. We use it to exaggerate a lot, right? Like, for example, this guy at volleyball, I was really annoyed with his behavior. Some people might not consider it unhinged, but it was pretty extreme. So I would use that, would be like, he was totally unhinged in his reaction, right? So we often describe people using this. For example, he's been completely unhinged since the breakup.
Yeah, so he just might be, maybe he's staying at home in his pajamas all the time.
Like super
He's-
upset.
Maybe he's calling his ex-girlfriend 10 times a day, you know?
Maybe stalking, right? It'd be like, he's unhinged. It could be something extreme like that, right?
It could be really serious if someone
Yes.
is unhinged.
Yes.
So, you know, sometimes we do use it in kind of a, it's kind of like the word crazy, honestly. And I think we've talked about
Yes.
that on the show before. Is it okay to use that? Because sometimes it's, you know, it's slightly un-PC to say something is unhinged, but again, you hear it a lot. So
In a very similar way to crazy. It's also slightly un-PC to say someone is crazy.
Exactly.
So yeah, like we'll use it a lot in slang, like that's crazy, this is crazy. But to actually say she is crazy or he is
Yeah.
crazy feels much worse, right? To
Yeah.
accuse someone of that. And the same, to say he's unhinged, she's unhinged, feels very extreme and also maybe unfair, maybe not appropriate, depending on the context.
Exactly. So, but yeah, we're gonna, you know, we're here to teach you how you will hear it, right? So you might
Exactly.
want to be a little bit careful. Like you don't necessarily want to describe someone as unhinged. You know, this might be a good one to listen for a lot more than to use, especially at the beginning. So, but yeah, it could be behavior as well. So she was acting super unhinged when her car broke down.
Or social media content, you might say your latest post was unhinged. It was hilarious. And yeah, we use it this way as slang to say maybe it was unexpected or shocking or crazy, you know, the same way we'd be like, that was crazy. We'd say that was unhinged.
Right. So the tone here is like something that is shocking or surprising. It might be more extreme, but it might be that example about the social media post. It might be in an entertaining kind of way. Oh, like it was just so extreme that you could put that on line. And so it was unhinged and that was hilarious. So it's interesting that it could also have that tone to it as well.
Exactly. Or with a lot of things that happen, I think of Taylor Frankie Paul. If you guys have any inside info about the whole
heard about
situation
that.
with Bachelor and Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, I saw this word used to describe her behavior, her ex's behavior, the show that put her in these situations. There's a lot going on there, but a lot of that could be described as unhinged. People's behavior as well as decisions being made by companies that are supporting that behavior. So anyway, yeah, we see this a lot in the news, in social media, and to either exaggerate or not, to describe something as unexpected and often negative.
Right. Often negative. Yeah. I mean, it usually sounds pretty critical. So you might hear like his rant was unhinged. He really needs to chill out. But it can be playful, as we said. I can't believe you said that to him. You're unhinged, right? In a teasing kind of way.
Exactly. So it really depends on the tone. It can be positive. It could be about, admiring someone's boldness or chaos. This is maybe a little less often. I might say this to people because I like people who are really interesting and kind of chaotic and surprise me. So I like my friends to be a little unhinged. Honestly, I think it's more fun.
Yeah. Right. So you could say that comedian was incredible, completely unhinged. So again, could sound insulting. This is a warning, guys, if used in the wrong context or tone. So you have to know your audience and the context, and just be really careful with using this word. Maybe listen to it
It's
first.
similar to when we were teaching about roasting. The person you can roast, you could playfully call unhinged. If you can't roast them, I wouldn't call them unhinged. It takes a certain relationship, a certain closeness to be able to have that teasing, playful relationship.
Exactly. All right, so we're going to talk more about this when we get back.
Hey, quick question. Do you want to feel more confident when you speak English? If so, we made a free guide for you. It'll help you avoid those common mistakes and start speaking more naturally in real conversations. Go grab it in the description below. And if this is helpful for you, make sure that you like and subscribe. We're here 5 times a week to help you connect in English.
Okay, Aubrey, so the listener mentioned collocations with the word wild also, like run wild. And are there any collocations with unhinged, would you say?
Well, we definitely use unhinged with intensifying words, and that makes it sound even more dramatic. So we might say she's completely unhinged lately, or his last few stories are totally unhinged.
Yeah, exactly. So, or words that could slightly soften the expression. So like kind of or a bit. So for example, they've been kind of unhinged throughout their move. That couple on the bus was fighting nonstop. It was all a bit unhinged. Or you could use a little or slightly. So honestly, their teacher seems a little unhinged, or his boss is so intense he seems slightly unhinged.
Exactly. These are all great. We use these often in daily conversations. And there are also some similar expressions we want to share. So, for example, we'll say someone to fly off the hinges, meaning to lose your temper or suddenly react maybe with intense anger. And it's more about anger than just chaotic behavior, right? So, for example, don't mention the budget cuts. He'll fly off the hinges again, meaning he's going to get really mad and upset and maybe yell at someone.
Or she flew off the hinges when someone cut her off in traffic. And you might also hear fly off the handle, right? I think I hear that one a little bit more.
Yes, both.
Yeah. Or to go off the rails. So that's to lose control or start acting in a chaotic, unpredictable way. So this can be negative. It can, again, have like a little humorous edge, but it really depends. So he went off the rails after losing his job. It was hard to watch. That's bad, not humorous.
Exactly. Or when the company changed owners, things started to go off the rails. This is also bad, right? Things were going badly. Changes were made. Everyone's having a hard time adjusting. Things went off the rails.
Yes.
And this is related to this phrase we use in English, derailed. Things got derailed. Same meaning for it to go off the rails. And it means the same literally when a train derails or goes off the rails. It means the same thing. It leaves the track and wrecks. And we use this metaphorically as well to talk about things ending or being ruined.
Yes, exactly. So should we do a role play?
Yeah, let's do it. Michelle and I are friends here. We follow an influencer on TikTok. Speaking of Taylor Frankie Paul, and this is not necessarily about her, a general influencer. We are discussing this influencer's recent posts.
Okay, here we go. Did you see her latest TikTok?
Yes, it was totally unhinged.
I know. She posted like 10 videos in a row.
And she was ranting the whole time. Her ex really made her fly off the hinges.
Yeah, she's completely gone off the rails after the breakup.
True, but people seem to be loving it.
Well, it's definitely entertaining, but a bit unhinged, 100%.
Oh, this is so interesting, especially, we're recording a bit in advance, so this will come out a little bit after this is all happening with Taylor Frankie Paul, but it's really in the zeitgeist right now in the news. Like, how much is it a problem for people to be entertained by the misery and drama and terrible things that are happening in people's lives, and they're still being filmed? They're on these reality TV shows. And so this is a big deal right now where it's in the discourse. Like, should this be happening? Should these TV shows be supporting that? Something probably needs to change. And also to look at ourselves. If we're entertained by that type of media,
right? What is that? Yeah.
What does that say about us? And should we be supporting it because they're continuing to do it because they're making money for doing it? And the shows are making money because there is an audience for it. So there's just a lot to be said. I'm not above enjoying, I really love Love is Blind, but and Traitors. I love Traitors, but I recognize that this is not a good, positive look for our society. If aliens come and watch reality TV, they're going to be like, nope, and go back to their planet.
Yeah, that's so funny. Yeah, so let's go through this. So you said...
I first said, yes, it
Hold
was
on
totally
1 second.
unhinged.
There's a
Oh.
person here. We're going to have to pause.
That's totally fine.
Let me say hello.
Hi. Hi, little person.
She can't hear you.
Oh, that's okay.
Dan!
She doesn't want dad. She wants mom. That's funny.
It's not him. Okay.
Oh, just needs a hug.
What did you got on your nose? Okay.
Hi, Dan.
He can't hear you.
No problem.
Okay, close the door. I'll be done in 20 minutes-ish. I'll be done in about like 20 minutes. Okay. Okay,
so let's pick it up. No problem. Let's pick it up where I think you said, let's go through the role play. So I'm just going to let you bring us in with like, okay, so let's go through this role play.
Okay. All right. So Gaspar, sorry for that. Yeah, and Jandy.
We'll send them times. In fact, let me make a note. Did you already? I'm going to make a note right here that it was at about 15 minutes edit needed. Got it. Okay.
All right. Okay. So, okay. Recording 3.
Oh, 3,
2, 1. Okay, so let's go through the role play. So I said, did you see her latest TikTok? And you said, yes, it was totally unhinged.
Yeah, so something about it was more chaotic than normal, I would say, or more chaotic than the average post you would see, right? So I'm describing it as unhinged because I felt like something was bonkers, crazy, like out of the ordinary in some way.
Yep. And then you said her ex really made her fly off the hinges. So like lose her temper, go a little wild, whatever it was.
And that happens, right? Someone's experiencing extreme emotions and we see the evidence of it sometimes, right? So we fly off the hinges. That means exhibiting some kind of extreme behavior, anger, usually some kind of emotion that we're lashing out.
Yes. And then what did I say, Aubrey?
You said she's completely gone off the rails. So this is the same as derailed. This idiom that means they have left sanity, sort of, right? There's like, we're not understanding the behavior anymore when we say someone's gone off the rails.
And then this was interesting. I said, well, it's definitely entertaining. And then I said as a question, but a bit unhinged. 100%. So that's an interesting way that we used it there. So, all right, Aubrey, we were mentioning our other episode about if you can roast someone. So guys, check out, just last episode, 2 episodes ago, that was 2640. Let's roast the All Ears English team. So let's check that one out.
If you missed it, you guys have got to scroll up and check that out. We shared a roast of the team, Michelle, me, Lindsay, a separate roast for each of us. And I think they're so funny. I'm really curious what you guys think about them. So if you missed it, scroll up and definitely check out that episode.
Yes, exactly. All right. Any takeaways today before we head off the mic, Aubrey?
Yeah, this is really interesting. This type of vocabulary can be offensive, can be too much. It really depends on the relationship. Just like we said, a person you can roast, you can use this playfully, teasingly to talk to them about your relationship. Otherwise, you might use it for people you don't know, people you see in social media exhibiting unhinged behavior, right? That's different because you're not saying it to their face. So this is the kind of thing you want to be careful when saying it to someone. But if you see some crazy behavior, this is great vocabulary to describe it.
Yes, exactly. All right. Well, thank you again to our listener for that great question. And guys, we will see you in the next episode.
Awesome. See you next time. Bye.
All right, bye.